What's up, guys? So today I'm going to be talking about one of the prospects out of the NFL draft that not only got drafted crazy low, but also is someone that I don't really even hear talked about even after having a solid preseason performance. I don't want to give this away too soon, but to make a long story short, the pick is A.T. Perry, wide receiver out of Wake Forest. Went to the New Orleans Saints in the 6th round there. I personally expected him to be, like a 3rd, 4th round pick. I see, even looking up on the screen, you see that he's 6'3 and a half, 198. He was listed as 6'5 in college. When it comes to him, he kind of has just the traits of a X receiver, like a top 1 or 2 guy. He has the height. He has good enough vertical speed. He's not going to be like a speedster, like a Tyreek Hill, Hyatt, or someone that's really going to like stretch the field. But like I said, he has good enough speed to go vertical. He has great jumping ability, and he put up great stats over at Wake Forest. What's interesting about him too is that he also kind of has a variety of where people expected him to go. I'd say some places like PFF didn't even really give like a full breakdown analysis of his game. But they did do a video the year before saying like, oh, he could be the best receiver in college football. So they were kind of early like on that hype train. But I even saw one by a site called FirstRoundMock.com from a scout called Daniel Kelly. And I kind of liked a little excerpt from there that when I was looking at his report, and it said that Perry really has a special knack that kind of separates him from most players that other players don't really have. And he said it's something only a trained eye can appreciate, and it took me a while to see it. Perry has the knack to wait to the last possible second before he goes to where the football is going to be. Up until that moment, he's setting corners up, and then at the last possible second, he makes his move. And this is interesting because he actually has Perry rated as the number 1 receiver in the draft class. While I necessarily wouldn't go that far, other few things he mentions I do agree with. Like he mentions aggression, concentration, and with that that's actually something that what first got me into him was watching the Bootleg podcast with Brett Coleman and EJ. And with that they did interview him, which did a great job, I think, of showcasing how smart of a player he is, who he really looks up to, which he mentioned watching Alshon Jeffrey when it came to some of that stuff, when it came to, being able to utilize the size very well, which I think is someone that he could compare to. I'll kind of get into that a little bit more later. But they did mention and showed off plays where he was constantly getting throws just over his back shoulder that he was just making. A lot of that is just that concentration that, like I said, you don't really get from a lot of players. The interesting thing is, with that kind of leads into some of the negatives that people will point out about him. Like, for example, according to SIS, which is another sport analytics firm, they actually mentioned that he only ran 11 unique routes, which isn't surprising necessarily with the RPO offense that they ran over there at Wake Forest. They said he was doing a lot of He was doing a lot of digs, outs, vertical plays, things like that, but he doesn't have too deep of a route tree, which is something I definitely think that he can somewhat get better at. Also, another thing that was mentioned with A.T. Perry from that same report, and you kind of notice it when looking at a lot of his plays, is his yards after catch ability. So according to SIS, out of a lot of the college receivers that were ranked there, his YAC per reception was actually only 2.1 yards, which was actually 60th out of all receivers or eligible draft receivers. So you could definitely tell that that's not a huge part of his game, is getting that run after the catch, at least not yet. You gotta also see it in his combine stats there, which we'll go into a little bit later. With that they still do give him a grade though of a 6.4, which is still showing that probably in his 2nd year he can develop into a starter, which is definitely something I agreed with. So the fact that someone like him went in the 6th round is just bonkers that he went that late, because he was like the 20th receiver or something taken there, which is crazy. And then even something, a little last thing, which another little knock, is his blocking. With that he is willing as a blocker, which I think is good enough there. If you have the right coach, you could definitely develop him into what you really want him to be, So with that I'm now going to look into who I really actually compare him to. So when it does come to A.T. Perry, one of the guys I do compare him to, I was kind of going back and forth. Like I said, this is a little biased though because he did go to the Saints. But I kind of was going back and forth between Marquise Colston and Michael Thomas. I did lean more towards Michael Thomas just because if you look on the screen here, this is actually the breakdown of the RAS, the relative athletic score of both those guys. If you actually look at it, A.T. Perry did great overall as a better grade. But in a lot of the statistics there when it came to like speed, He actually, beat him in. The only things you could see is the shuttle there when it comes to what he struggles with compared to Michael Thomas. But overall, besides the weight, they do have pretty similar makeups. So I think if you do give him time, he's someone that could be a future Michael Thomas for them. Like I said, he just has those traits of being a top receiver. He doesn't have a lot of versatility between the slot and wide. He didn't really play too much in the slot, at least at Wake Forest. It didn't seem like. Like I said, his pretty much his receiver points per game according to SIS was ranked lower, which doesn't surprise me. He did seem to play out wide, especially at his height and lack of suddenness and agility. But I think at worst you're getting a great possession receiver on the outside. Tall guy, he can go up and get it. He had one of the best. He did have an amazing broad jump at 9.86 there, which is more than Michael Thomas. I think it was more than Colston's. He has better vertical than Michael Thomas, just by 2 inches. So with that there, mixed in with his concentration, at least when it comes to those jump balls, I can really see him doing that. He has to get better at his route tree, which is something with the right coach I think he can improve on. He needs to get a little better with his drops. That was something that was kind of mentioned. He did have more drops than you would like. His drop rate at 9% isn't the best. But with that there, at 8 drops for this year, and I think he had 8 or 9 the year before. But with that there, that seems like, according to NFL.com, seemed to be more of just allowing the football to get on top of him. So with that, I do think if he does spend more time, like I said, he'll get that down. Quentin Johnson's another one who did a lot of body catches, who had the same kind of thing. And if you see through preseason, he's already getting better at it with the receiver coach. Now, I don't know too much about the Saints wide receiver coaching that they have, but with the guys that they've had come through there, I could see them definitely having a good thing. That's something I kind of want the Saints fans to let me know in a little bit on. He hasn't really been talked about a lot, though. Overall, which is why I kind of want to do this video. And also, I just really like his game. I think he's a smart player. So with that there, please let me know what you guys think. Saints fans, please give me an idea of what you think and what you're expecting out of this guy here, because I do think that he's definitely underrated. And I think, especially with you guys not having the greatest receiver room in the world, and Michael Thomas being, unreliable, he's definitely someone that could work out there. I mean, you saw it in that first game. Was going up against second stringers, but he could definitely put up stats and use that height speed combo to really take advantage of other guys in this league. And I'm really excited to see what he could do, because, like I said, he was someone I was kind of looking at before the draft I wanted my team to get. But like I said, let me know what you guys think. I'd love to, go back and forth and really get more of an idea, especially if Wake Forest fans or Saints fans, like I said. So please let me know down below in the comments. And besides that, guys, I'm out.